Now, it's been announced today that more than 22,000 children will leave primary school dangerously obese this year. And one government advisor has said that obese people, adults, should be given protected characteristics and allowed to work from home. So, if you follow that logic through, should we be allowing obese children to do the same thing and let them be homeschooled? Would that work, Janet?
I have never heard anything so ridiculous in my life. Makes me so angry. Obviously, people are obese for a whole load of reasons. And if a child is at school and has weight issues, and now we've heard that, you know, a huge proportion of children are overweight, siphoning them off and sticking them at home is not going to help them in any way whatsoever. First of all, it isolates them and that will cause further problems. And secondly, I do have to say that part of growing up is growing a thicker skin and, you know, learning to fit in with other people. I mean, that doesn't mean that I'm not sympathetic to all their issues, but to take people out of a school environment...
Will make their issues worse,
Well,
surely.
I would have thought so.
And it's also like society is trying to sort of keep them out of sight a bit.
Yeah, it almost feels like instead of addressing the problem and putting money and focus and attention into areas that really, really need it, like mental health areas and nutritional money to educate children on nutrition, we're just going to go, OK, let's keep them at home so no one sees them.
But how do we address the problem? I mean, that's the big question. I mean, we
so
clearly...
many different angles. It can't just be this one sweeping, get them out of school, get rid of them, out of my...
No, sure, but I mean, if you're going
to...
to go beyond that, I mean, if we don't think that is particularly a good idea, I mean, apparently half of all doctors now will say that they feel the major issue with obesity is lack of willpower. And if that is the root cause, and I'm not sure whether we would all agree with that or not, then how do you act upon that?
We live in a society which is, you know, peddling sugar and fat and junk food and snacks at us all the time. And then you accuse...
Some people resist, you know, you would
some
argue...
people do, but then you accuse those who don't of lacking willpower. I don't think that's good enough.
I think that I was shocked to read that in a survey recently that 50% of the doctors who were in the survey said that it was all down to a lack of willpower, and we know, you know, that people are obese because they just lack willpower, and I don't think it's like that. I think that the pressures on people and their relationship with food has changed so drastically over my lifetime. Because, you know, I went to school and there wasn't choice for a start. Back in the day when I went to primary school, you all trooped into school meals, sat down, ate it. And if you didn't eat it, you stuck it in your pockets and you didn't have a choice. And that was it. And you went home and your mother made a meal in the evening, which, you know, she would have gone out to work as well, but she made a pretty decent meal and you ate it. There was no choice or intolerances or all this rubbish. You know, not that all intolerances are rubbish, but we're allowing people too much leeway, so their relationship to food is, you know, not healthy from the word go.
What do you think? I just feel like we live in a culture where we can't want to blame one thing and say, well, this is the problem, let's do this. But I actually think it's a whole multitude of issues. You know, you're looking at how do we take care of people with mental health issues? How are we taking care of...
What link are you making with mental health and obesity?
I think that if you get to a certain point in your life, whether it's obesity or you struggle with weight issues in general, from either end of the spectrum, it does then lead to problems with how your self-esteem, how you see yourself, how you face the day. I think that... And that has a detrimental effect on your mental health. And if you don't then attack a problem that is very deep-rooted, I don't see how hiding somebody weight or blaming them for their own lack of willpower is going to help anybody. It's just to make them feel worse about themselves.
In that chicken and egg situation, do you feel the weight issue, and as you say, it can be food issues, maybe we should say, is the start of it, and then mental health issues develop thereafter?
Yeah, because if you develop an obesity problem you can't control, it becomes a mental health problem. Certainly becomes a depression problem if you're not careful. And we read again that so many, even primary school children, are now suffering from depression, and it's very often linked. The two things are. Oh, did you read that a lot of clothing stores are now bringing out plus-size clothing for primary-aged children? Plus size. I hope they're not going to call them plus size.
But
well, I
what
think
are you
they
doing
do have
to these?
different
But
titles,
why?
don't they?
Why would you sit there to a child and say, "Here's your plus size garment"? It's already hard enough going into school as an obese child who's then going to struggle socially, who's going to struggle mentally, and then they've got to wear clothes.
OK, but let's be quite brutal here. Children do not come out of the womb obese. I mean, there are 10 times as many chronically overweight children at primary school than there were in 1990. Now, those children were not born obese, nor do all those children have mental health issues. Those children are being fed the wrong food by their mothers, the wrong food, every part of their day is the wrong food. Now, I think that mothers must bear some responsibility. Mothers must bear some responsibility.
Anna, I'm really disappointed to hear you say that. You know, I mean,
Carers.
we should absolutely be talking about parents and carers. I agree with you. But I mean, the world has changed. We live a very fast, busy life.
Children don't make
People are under
themselves
pressure.
obese.
You've got 2 parents or carers who are working. You've got huge conglomerates feeding us this stuff, this absolute
and you've got a
rubbish.
school curriculum
It,
that hardly
one person
includes
against
any
the world.
exercise
I
as
mean,
well.
I think
you're not
to
telling
put
me
the
that
responsibility on
parents
the
now
little
work
person
harder.
is wrong.
But you're not telling me that parents now work harder than my mother and father did when I was between the age of 4 and
competition between
secondary
the
school.
generations, but it's acknowledgement that our lives have changed, the pressures have changed.
And also the readily available junk food that's on offer, the advertisers, everything that you see all the time that is feeding into...
We gotta go.